psychic medium and spiritual healer based in New Zealand. Welcome. Okay, so before I head into today's video, my live Q&A is going to come up at some time end of May, early June-ish, and you can send in questions anonymously via the link below to my live Q&A. You can ask any questions under the sun. What happened the last 4 years with the iris? What happened if you want to know more about psychic ability, discernment, psychic boundaries, if you want to know a little bit about working with your energy body and diet and naturally feeling good easily, which is a really big thing a lot of us don't know, how to feel good in our bodies spiritually and energetically with the soul. If you feel depressed all the time, you know, I work as a medical medium and a healer as well. So now's a really good time to send in questions and stuff you've been pondering. There are no wrong questions. Any rude questions will politely be ignored. And you can send in as many questions as you want this time round, and I will answer them in the live Q&A here on YouTube. Yes, okay, so today's video, and it is also, if you have any questions on business, if you have watched some of my videos and you went out and had some experiences, you're allowed to send in some comments, some insights. What do you think of XYZ? I really love to hear from people who have been watching my videos and sent an email if you've had some things happen, or if one of my videos has helped you in some way. I would love to hear. Okay, and also my services are open at the moment, and what I'll do is I'm aiming to open them up for a few months, the psychic services and healing services, opening them up for a few months at a time, then closing them off, and then opening them up again. It's usually done, I'm sort of guided by the spiritual realms about when to open up the services, if I need a break and whatnot. I don't do it full time, and I do have other things going on outside of this YouTube channel and doing psychic work. You can go and visit my other Instagram, Aphrodite's Garden, which is my creative journey. I'm very, very highly creative and in tune, and creativity, Aphrodite's Garden is a place for fun and relaxation and seeing what's going to happen. I'm on this really big creative journey, and I post a lot of other stuff over there. You can follow along with my fashion design. I want it to be a place of inspiration and whatnot. I think we've been using social media in a very vapid way, and I want to sort of use it in a better manner and inspire better things. And yeah. Okay, so this video has a really big one. So this is going to be about psychic boundaries and gaining clarity, confidence, and discernment within. Because a lot of us struggle with being naturally confident. And it works very different for the masculine and feminine energies. And when I come to working with people to gain more confidence and discernment and healthy assertiveness in their energies, I am looking at what's going on within the energy body and the body. So a lot of the times what happens is that we sort of go looking for confidence outside of ourselves, or we are gauging how confident we are based on others' perceptions of ourselves. And no one's really taught us how to gain natural confidence from within. And it's got all to do with the energy body and the soul connection and the feeling connection. And so a lot of the times we are very, very stuck in this part of the body, the mind. And with healing work and also doing my own healing work on myself, I was very disconnected from the feminine flow and the feminine essence. And I was very rooted in the mind because I was traumatized. And so I was very disconnected from my bodily feelings and my body's like energetic intuition, which is it's common sense intuition. The body will tell you what you need and where you need to go and what you need to do. And it's also embodying that and bringing it through into your vessel. Without that really strong innate connection to the soul and the spirit, we're not naturally confident. We don't feel good in the body. We don't feel good on the earth. We don't treat each other nicely. And we're very, very spiritually and socially disconnected as well. We don't pick up on social cues. We're not socially confident. We can't read the room when we're not naturally confident. We can't gauge energies appropriately and be naturally confident in social situations. If you go and watch my video, Socializing with purpose. I talked how there was no such thing as extroversion and introversion. It was about listening to the body and what you're needing. And that sometimes on our journeys and in life, we just need to take an extended break from people. And that sometimes you just need time to yourself. Maybe you are a homebody for a good 5 years, and then you're like, I'm ready to socialize now. Or it's all about and feeling. And if you're not socializing with people that you don't actually enjoy, you're going to feel icky. Okay, so natural confidence with psychic boundaries and discernment. First and foremost, no one teaches us how to discern energy. Discerning energy is a part of spiritual maturity. I've done a video on this, so I'm going to talk a little bit more about confidence and how working with what you're feeling psychically and what you're picking up psychically and energetically in that aura, engaging what's going on outside of you, is going to give you confidence and assertiveness, and it's going to build up natural intuitive confidence within you when you learn how to read and discern energies, because you know that you can self-rely on yourself and your own intuition. So that's a really big thing for a lot of people, is that they feel like they can't rely on their own inner voice, or they don't know what it's like, or their inner voice is really, really insecure. And so when people talk about self-sabotage and all that stuff, it's just the inner voice. I do know that healing the inner child brings incredible amounts of security within yourself. A lot of us are very insecure, and it comes from an unintegrated, unhealed aspect of us, which is the inner child. Very normal, very common. It can change your life by doing inner child healing work and also teen healing work. When it comes to relationships and confidence, with our teen selves, that's when we start to bloom more into our sexual energy, and we can have some very traumatizing experiences in our teens that carry on into our adulthood and sort of hinder us with enjoying relationship and confidence and knowing who we are in relationship. So, and also that, and with relationship, as you get older, you want to mature your understanding of the masculine and feminine with psychic energies, and learning to discern environments, learning to discern relationships, learning to discern women, learning to discern men. And this brings you more maturity, spiritual maturity, and spiritual confidence. So discernment isn't a judgment, and then this is when I've seen a lot of people in the spiritual community think that judging is discernment, but discernment comes from self-love and self-responsibility for yourself and your own energies. You're not in charge of what someone else is choosing to cultivate. And when you start to grow in spiritual maturity and use discernment and learn and hone that psychic, energetic awareness, it brings so much more confidence and togetherness within your inner spiritual energies, and it affects how you feel in your body. And once you get that psychic stability and that intuitive confidence and that sturdiness within you as spiritual energies, especially with women, because women can just go out of, I see a lot of women who channel and they're just out here. They're not actually in their bodies channeling. They're actually just sort of out here. They're not. It's not straight and narrow. I've done another video on this where women just are absolute loony bins when it comes to spiritual energies and channeling. I've seen a lot of stuff online. I'm like, you're not cultivated. You've got no boundaries. You've got no psychic discernment. You are not channeling. You are just speaking like you would think a spiritual being would channel. I've seen many, many stuff because I have such a strong connection with the spiritual realms in my dream time all the time. I will tell you straight off the bat, no spiritual guide has ever come into my dreams talking absolute spiritual smack. I am so baffled by what people call today's channeling, and I look at people and I just think, you don't know what you're doing. You're not channeling. Who taught you? Are you making this up because it looks like it? So there's a discernment. That's a big one for females and psychic energies, discerning other females, discerning healers, discerning friendship circles. I talked about this with divine feminine and friendships. You need to have a very strong inner connection to your feminine psychic energies and intuitive energies, and know what's good for you, what's mature for you, and what's not. And this is when you start creating a life that's really amazing based on your inner desires and pleasures of your inner masculine or your inner feminine. So in order to understand the pleasures and the confidence and the desires of the soul and what you want in life, you first have to go through, some gobbledygook. You have to go through maybe some trying situations, some trying initiations, some bad relationships, um, and understand what it's like to be treated well and understand what it's like to not be treated well. And you have to have that almost like that juxtaposition of energies and understanding, no, I don't want that. Yes, I like this person's energy. I feel good around this person's energy. This feels respectful. This feels balanced. This feels mature. I like this. And so because we're oscillating so differently, and we don't get taught basic psychic hygiene or basic psychic boundaries, we don't have the natural confidence to trust in ourselves and to trust in ourselves to guide ourselves. And so what happens is we just, without those boundaries and the discernment, you're going to go into everything, and you're not going to be together in the aura, and you're not going to be together in the body. And this is where you get really, really insecure people whose energies just interfere in everything. I think we all know the people who are a little bit unself-aware and they're very interfering and meddling. They're not aware of the energies. They're not aware of where they're governing or guiding their energies. They don't know what they're feeling from within, and that's when you get super unconscious. But people know what they're doing. So it's unconscious of the inner. And they don't know how they're treating people. They don't know how they're affecting people. They lack empathy, and it's usually they're very self-absorbed. There's a difference between immature self-absorption, and then there's a big difference between loving and respecting yourself and your own energies in your own life and choosing better, high energies to surround yourself with. But you can't do that until you've gained some psychic confidence with situations that are not nice, because you can't learn that discernment without understanding some icky energies first. So it all has its place. When it comes to like true confidence of the self and the spirit and the body, you also have to go through this process of saying no to things and putting up boundaries. And then what happens is once you've sort of passed through that passageway, those types of situations stop, because you don't need to learn that anymore, and you can come back in. And now you're confident in verbalizing those boundaries, and now you need to move into psychic boundaries, which is energetic boundaries, and you sort of mature out of that. I think it's called that, that very self-righteous, respect me. Sometimes you need to learn to that, and then you sort of mature into poise and grace and discernment with psychic energies. It's very confidently within driven. It's very quiet. It's poised, it's graceful, it's gorgeous, and it makes you feel very, very put together in the soul and the body, and very quietly capable, confident, assertive, and onto it. So honing those psychic boundaries and honing that inner intuitive confidence and learning to really listen to what you're actually feeling, because when we go and connect to everything outside of us, that's when we lose the plot. That's when we get super, super carried away with our lives. Especially, I've seen this on social media where people are very, very governed by external validation, or they are worshipping social media, which is essentially worshipping external materialistic. You're not connected into the soul. You're going to forever feel insecure, like chronically insecure, if you are after external validation. You are never ever going to feel good about yourself. Looks and beauty and physical stuff like that are so surface. You can see one of the most beautiful women in the world, but they're highly insecure and they don't age well, and they sort of resort back to an insecure teen in their 60s, and it's not cute because they haven't cultivated that strong sense of self in their feminine spirit, and it's unattractive. It doesn't matter what you look like. It matters how you're feeling within you and what you're doing with your energies and how confident you're feeling, because I can guarantee you that it's going to start shining out of your aura like no tomorrow. It's all in the energy. It's all that you're emitting and what you're feeling, and connecting into that actual energetic, psychic, spiritual part of yourself, your energy body, and working with that around you. It's truly life-changing. It can change your whole perception on life. It's very, very empowering, and you sort of start self-guiding yourself in a way that's quite enjoyable. I think I've said this before in another video, that a lot of people just don't want to take self-responsibility or accountability for their energies. This is where you get people who sort of flail around in victimhood a lot. It's usually their own energies that are creating their own experience of their life, and they get energy and attention from being in that disempowered state. And so when you move into a more empowered psychic, energetic, and spiritual state like this, it really is up to you and how you want to live out your incarnation. And so you become super self-guided because you're listening to your soul. So for me, for example, that lighting, I realized I love beauty, I love quietness, I love things that make me feel good. I love art and beauty and beauty rituals that bring a sense of purpose and peace and tranquility to me, and that make my body feel really, really good. And I started just experimenting with a morning and an evening routine to bring stability. So if you are highly psychic, or you know you're very, very highly intuitive, getting those boundaries, those psychic boundaries and discernment is going to make your life a whole lot more easier, a whole lot more pleasurable and enjoyable. A lot of people who incarnate with very high psychic ability and very big auras, or they're very spiritually connected and can have a really hard time in finding purpose and pleasure and joy, because you're just responding to that collective chaos or that collective negativity that's playing out. And when you sort of incarnate with a lot of wisdom or energetic maturity, I think, getting those boundaries and getting things straight and sorted in your life is going to add so much more psychic stability, pleasure, and joy, and focusing on your energies and what you would like to create in your incarnation. I cannot stress enough. One of the really big things that's helped me over the past few weeks, as I've sort of been moving through the last of this teen healing, that I went to a private school. I had this dream, and I was in I was at a very, very strict Anglican school, and we had chapel every Tuesdays, and then we had like 2 assemblies, and then on Wednesdays we had to wear like a white shirt, and we had ties, school cardigans, prefects. It was very, and I just had this dream of these teen girls being churned out on this thing, like one by one. We were all the same uniform, like just being churned out like robots. It was like that, and I just, obviously been doing a lot of teen healing, but it was just really interesting. And you're not sort of taught to be self-guided. You'll just sort of be like, you are like this, and then you go out into the world and you do this. And when you, where was I going? Where was I going with that? And we don't get taught that, and so we can go out into the world thinking we're one way when we're not, and it's a really gorgeous process of honing in and listening to what suits you, what suits your psychic energies, what you want and what you don't want. Very empowering, very gorgeous, very good for the mature, wizened soul, or for someone who wants to get more confidence, clarity, poise, and discernment within themselves. So if you're constantly getting carried away outside of yourself, so you constantly get carried away by media, you constantly get carried away, you're just being flung into the things, and you're going off and doing what everyone else is saying, you feel like you don't have control, so you try and control other people. You need to gain control and power back within your spiritual energies within your body. If you feel out of control, if you feel highly insecure all the time, getting psychic boundaries and understanding what's going on within you is going to help immensely. I'm also going to say there's a lot of information out there on psychics and whatnot, and there's a lot of stuff that swirls around in the mainstream spirituality that is very, very surface. And as with anything good, I highly recommend going to find someone to get a one-on-one session who's a professional who can help you. There's a lot of very, very surface stuff out there I've seen online that is just, in my opinion, not going to cut it, and is not a professional psychic service and should not be a professional psychic service. And that's why I was going to, I'm also going to start when my website opens up, a business directory for anyone who comes to business manifestation, or any healers or psychics that come through, that will be given a tick of approval by the spiritual realms that these intuitives know what they're doing. Okay, thank you so much for watching. As I said, if you're highly insecure, if you get carried away all the time, it's probably your ego. Your ego needs to simmer down and settle down. And by doing it, you get psychic boundaries. You start feeling a lot more secure and onto it and stable within. Doing really simple things like getting a morning and evening routine and sticking to it will hone and stabilize your intuitive and psychic energies like no tomorrow. You got to stay off the phone in the mornings and the evenings, and you've got to really start focusing on what's the feelings within. Otherwise, because if you're not connected in there, then you're connected out here. And you're going to get flung around by everyone else, and you're just not going to be in charge of your energies. Now, what else was I going to say with the honeyed psychic energies? In order to feel really, really good with psychic energies and intuitive capabilities and whatnot, you do have to find and cultivate pleasure and joy and harmony and love in your life. And at the base level collective consciousness, a lot of relationships and a lot of ways of life and how we experience ourselves are not cultivated on joy, pleasure, love, abundance, fun, all the stuff that makes life worth living. And I think around about now, there's a lot of people having a lot of awarenesses that life just isn't cutting it anymore. This relationship or marriage isn't working for me anymore. I'm not feeling good. I'm not feeling positive. I'm not feeling pleasurable, and I don't want it anymore. So that's probably your soul wanting or craving more pleasurable and desirable experiences in the earthly realm. And sometimes we think we're being selfish, or we think we're being XYZ for wanting a better life. But there's a lot of stuff that plays on guilt in this earth that you need to be made to feel guilty for wanting a better life, and you need to give yourself over to other people who don't have a good life. That's really, really bad energetic and psychic boundaries. I do know that in family dynamics, a mother can, this happened to me, make a daughter feel super guilty for wanting a better life than her. This also plays out in collective consciousness and mainstream media, where media will try and convince you that you need to have a bad life because someone else is having a bad life. And that's not really conducive to the earth, because what we actually want to do is we want to evolve out of really bad ways of living on this earth and move it into more pleasure and joy. So by doing that, you're adding more pleasure, joy, art, and beauty to this earth, and we are moving out of suffering. So there's just no point in suffering for other people. I've said this before. If you feel like you want to donate or help out, why not see what's going on in the local SPCA, what's going on in your neighborhood, what's going on in your local community first, instead of reaching out via the internet, because it's not conducive. It's actually a waste of your life force, and you should be cultivating your life force in the here and now, and also what's going on in front of you, and really honing in that psychic ability in the everyday world in front of you. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to, what was I going to say just then? Don't forget to send in your questions for the Q&A. I post a lot over on my community tabs all the time. I talk about a little bit about manipulation queens or manifestation queens. I've been having a few insights around that, and the ego consciousness of manifestation, and what actual manifestation is on a higher, more mature perspective. So send in your questions, your comments, your thoughts for the live Q&A. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that was helpful.